Eddie Van Halen, who I've always heard was like he had like cancer on and off. Well, he passed away, 65. So yeah, I was a big fan of Van Halen, still am, especially the earlier years. So we just wanted to take this time to give our thoughts on it. And I know Suge, you always, when we first started talking, you mentioned that Van Halen was always like one of your like one of the big bands you always loved. So what happened when you heard about it?
Yeah, man. Like, anybody who knows me knows I have like a vast taste for music. The only music I really don't have a taste for is like country music. And, a lot of my favorite um music is from like the 80s. And a lot of those bands, Motley Crue, Van Halen, um Bon Jovi to a certain extent. But Van Halen was always like my definitive favorite group. Um Let me be clear, just like Michael said, I'm a fan of the David Lee Roth era of Van Halen. I'm not a fan of Sammy Hagar or any other lead singer that they've had. Um and if you commercially, if you hear like their music anywhere, like you don't hear like their later stuff. You hear stuff with like David Lee Roth on it, but the magician on the guitar that was Eddie Van Halen, um, the sick design that he had on his guitar, that's kind of become like the look of the band. Like I remember I bought they had Guitar Hero specifically just like Van Halen, and I had to get it. I remember I saw it on sale at like Target for like my Xbox at the time, and I think I bought it for like $20. Best $20 I spent on a game. Um,
Come on, I got my Guitar Hero right here. You should jam to it.
yeah. But interesting story specifically about Eddie Van Halen. So my mom's cousin, when they were young in the Virgin Islands, I guess it was a thing in the '70s. They used to have this thing called pen pals, and my mom's cousin, her pen pal was a guy named Edward Van Halen, and she used to write to him and they used to correspond. I don't know the specific details, but I assume like he'd talk about, starting a band and stuff like that. And it's just crazy. The story of Van Halen, which is like David Lee Roth basically owned like music equipment. And I think it was Eddie and his brother, what's his brother's name? It's escaping me.
Alex on drums.
Yeah, Alex Van Halen. So they went to them to David Lee Roth, and like he owned this equipment. It's just like, listen, like if you let me be part of your band, you could have these instruments. Like you could use my instruments whenever you want. And just how iconic that group of people became and the music that they made is just incredible to me. And like it was a sore spot for me. If you see my Instagram, I did my tribute to him. Um, Mike.
Yeah, I did too. If on He's Gonna Puke, I played Eruption, which is like one of my favorite hype up songs. That's Eddie Van Halen. It's actually like one on the first album, and it leads into You Really Got Me. It's the second song on the album.
And
But yeah,
something I just found out last night. They never had like a number one single, and the closest they got, the only single that they got number one was Jump. But the closest he ever got to having another number one single, um, was the year Michael Jackson's Bad came out. I just found out like that was him doing the guitar on Beat It.
oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I
Yeah,
just found that out last
He
night. I
did
was like,
the
wow.
he did the
He's in the
solo.
video. Yeah, he's in the video. He's like in the cafe, and like you see him like and then then Michael Jackson did that a lot. He did that with Slash too. But yeah, I remember that's like when I back on VH1, like every Michael Jackson birthday they'd play like all the videos, and I remember when I was really little seeing it. but yeah, like a lot of the stuff that I liked about the Van Halen thing, like a lot of things were like kind of silly stuff. Like David Lee Roth is like he's a showman. He's like wild. And there was this famous thing in '96, I think, in MTV when they got back together, and David Lee Roth was such like a prick on stage that like they broke up like that night again. Like, it was that type of thing. It was a joke that they would always break up and get back together. Then they went on tour, and it was only Sammy Hagar and like, David Lee Roth, and they got together because they couldn't stay together. Another interesting thing I heard, like maybe like a year ago, my brother read an interview with him with Eddie Van Halen, and he revealed that he hadn't even like besides like going to a store, like he's going to like say Starbucks and they had music playing. He
Hmm.
hadn't sat down and bought an album since like 1990, which is insane to me. Like he hasn't sat down and like purchased a new album, only accidentally hearing like new music, which I think is crazy. Uh, but yeah, so I'm gonna jump into the first 6 albums of Van Halen. They signed their deal in '77 with Warner Bros. So Eddie Van Halen was probably like 21, 2021. Van Halen won. I'm gonna go through the whole. Check this out. So Van Halen won. Track 1, "Running with the Devil."
Hmm.
Number 2 leads into is "Eruption," the instrumental, and then that's a quick like interlude. And then it goes into "You Really Got Me," which is the cover song. I heard that on this. I actually heard that on the radio yesterday on my way to stop by Suge's house. Hype song. 4, one of my favorites, "Ain't Talking About Love."
Oh yeah.
That,
That's yeah, that intro is unforgettable. That's one of the first things I thought of when he passed. Just the guitar intro.
yeah. So if you go to YouTube, type in "Ain't Talking About Love" US Fest, I think. I always used to watch it. It's like them either in Japan or there's another one where they're in Japan where they go out there and it's just all of them either they're just out of it and like their tempos are all off, but they're having a great time. Like David Lee Roth comes out in his outfit and stuff. It's just like he's just rambling and stuff. It's just like a pure. Just look that up on YouTube. So then on the same album, flip side, they have Jamie's Crying, which is a freaking banger, and then they turn that sample into Tone Loc, Wow thing. That's
Hmm.
that's that's a great sample. So yeah, so that's a great album. I know we talked about on Twitter recently where like 5 songs in a row that are great, on an album.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
You got 4 one side. Yeah, so Joel, you do like the beats and stuff and sampling and stuff. You ever dabble in any Van Halen? Checking that out on
More like just like you and Suge. Like I was like first of all, like I got into like rock by playing like Rock Band and Guitar Hero because like growing up, I was just like bachata, merengue, hip hop, rap. So like I got into rock in general by playing Rock Band and Guitar Hero, those games on Xbox. And but like even before that, I've always heard like one of the like you mentioned Eruption. Like every time I hear that song, it was crazy. It's just like he's really killing that guitar. He's shredding everything, killing that guitar. And I remember trying to play that on Rock Band and failing like in like 5 seconds. Once like it really started speeding up, I failed in like 5 seconds. I probably still fail to this day trying to play that song. So I guess like even before, I'm trying to see what the first Van Halen song I heard because I know about the Wild Thing sample, but I can't really like pinpoint like which is the first Van Halen song I've heard. But I'll just know like after Rock Band, I don't think I bought Guitar Hero Van Halen, but like every Rock Band Guitar Hero song has like a couple songs on there from every separate bands. But I know for a fact every song I tried to play for Van Halen, I liked it. Every single song. I can't name them, but they were enjoyable. And like
there.
it's like also one of those things where like I wish I would have learned more of his music. So like rest in peace to Eddie Van Halen. But as far as I know, like and I've also like Shug mentioned earlier, he was in Michael Jackson. Like he did the solo for Beat It. So like I knew that as well. And his solo is one of my favorite parts of the song Beat It. Especially while when you go into that scene in the video that's Van Halen playing right there. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, they're unorthodox. Like a lot of weird covers, and like Daily Roth was like a lounge singer pretty much. Safe bet. I think a lot of us, most of us, our first time hearing one of that era is by Hot for Teacher, right? Hot for Teacher is like one of those songs that everyone knows.
Oh yeah. I think
Yeah,
that's
that's
the
another
first
one
song
too.
I heard from. That's the first song I knew from him because I love the video, and I was like, I was watching it the other day when they on MTV Classic. I was telling Mike that like they were playing their music, but unfortunately they included like Sammy Hagar's Van Halen songs, so I couldn't watch it like all day. But like I was watching Hot for Teacher, I was like thinking to myself, I was like, they really had like a girl doing like a striptease in front of a bunch of like 9-year-old kids.
Hey, it was a good
'80s were
time.
wild, man.
Yeah, so the first album, Van Halen 1, and then the last one they made, 84. It's crazy how with 6 albums, the band went from the beginnings, like you said, David Lee Roth. I think his uncle was the one who owned like a very, very popular equipment shop, I think.
Yeah.
But then in the last album, they were already like broken up pretty much. 1984, the name of the album. And then like 6 months later, DLR had his own album out, which was a hit too.
Yeah.
And then they had their hit 2 years later too with the 87 album. It was still a hit. But yeah, like the second album they recorded in like less than a week. It has like two hits on it, one hit. But 84 it's like a mirror to Van Halen 1 because you have Jump, I'll Wait for Your Love to Come Down, Panama, Hot for Teacher, and yeah, and then the heart and soul of all those songs pretty much is Eddie Van Halen, I would say. Not to everyone else is great too, like Michael Anthony on bass, the brother, and then in more recent times, Wolfgang. I believe is that his nephew?
Yeah, his son. Yeah, him and Valerie Bertinelli, their kid.
She's been posting a lot of like private photos of them, so my mom and like my girlfriend have been checking those out.
And as well, like she wasn't even like I read last night too. Like she wasn't even like a fan of like Van Halen. She just got dragged to his show, I think, by her brother, and then met Eddie backstage, and like she called it love at first sight, and that's how they got involved. And they were married for like 20 some odd years. They divorced, I think, from 1982 to 2007. They were married. They were separated for 4 years before, but they had a son, and their son is now like he's gonna carry on a legacy because he's part of Van Halen.
Yeah, everyone forgets about this on the internet. This Guitar Hero right here.
Oh, you had that one. I had the black one.
This was a huge deal in like the mid 2007. Like you go to like a house party and like you hear like a murmur in the basement. You go down there and people are like Indians. Oh, not Indians. I can't say that anymore. Cross like feet, cross legged. They'd be like blocking you out, and everyone else would be like drinking around them. You just be like playing like Smashing Pumpkins or something like that.
Yeah, we used to play that in college in like the TV room. We'd be because I had my guitar, and then everybody else had theirs, so we'd all get together and we'd be like one band, like in the like competing against each other and stuff like that. So
yeah, my friend
and I brought the Van Halen, and we used to play the Van Halen one.
Yeah, that was always like the first track you'd blast. What do you call it? Yeah, I have a story about that. I had a Van Halen type night the night before. I visited my friend in upstate New York University, and I woke up random place, whatever. And when I got back, there was this kid who was like savant, like playing the Guitar Hero in the morning. It was like 7 in the morning, 8 in the morning. He was like still playing all night. And I came in there, and I was like, "Oh, is it cool, man? If I like crash here, I'm just lay here because it was in like the communal room." And he like just blocked me out. And then as soon as I laid down, I was like, he could tell I was like still recovering. And he just like packed up his equipment. He had like a briefcase for it, and he was like, put everything in there. He was just like, "Okay, ruined my night." Like he left. I was like, "Hey man, I'm sorry." Please. That was a lifetime ago. But yeah, I mean, we get that a lot where like rock stars, he lasted a long time because some rock stars went out when they were in their 20s. I'm a big fan of pro wrestling, so never surprised when you hear like a wrestler died because like the lifestyle, you know.
Yeah.
But matches and same with albums, they live on.
And 65 is like a long life. Like you can't be mad at that. That's
Yeah, it's
double
for
my
cool.
lifetime, so I hope to live at least that long. But prayers up for his now widow. Prayers up for Valerie. Prayers up for Alex. Prayers up for Wolfgang. Prayers up for Sammy Hagar and David Lee Roth. You know, even on like Sammy Hagar's music and anybody who's part of that VH family, man, fans and supporters.